What's up, Rockstars? How's it going? Today I have a great video for you guys. I have a special giveaway announcement. I have a long-awaited Kickstarter game that finally has a preview page. You can click that button, get to remind me. That's super cool. There's a ton of new games that I'm showing. Some old ones, some problem ones, some exciting ones, IP-driven games. I got it all in this video. It's going to be a big one. Stay tuned. Yes, you see that right. A new Into the AM shirt, link down below. And no, it's not sponsored. I just think they're super cool. And I got it in, so wanted to actually just put in a link in there for those who want to try it. So I'm going to actually, this is going to be kind of cool because I'm going to be showing off a game that was like randomly sent to me that I don't even understand. And so before I get into that, before I show this game off to you, which by the way, it's way up there on the BGG hot list. It's a huge game, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I want to thank my patrons. They are awesome. It is through them and their financial support that this channel is possible. This is an expensive hobby and they help greatly. If you appreciate all of the videos I make, even if it's just $1 a month, it would be great if you could go down to the link below in the description and click the Patreon link and get some benefits there while you're at it. There's a cool Discord. There's audio updates. There's some exclusive stuff. They just got a nice benefit to Chronicles of Drunagar. So I always try to give back to them, and I'm incredibly thankful. So thank you so much to all of them. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I don't know how this happened, but I got this game. Bitoku. This was sent to me, and I'm so actually kind of freaking out about it just because I don't know how they got my name or my address is kind of the worrisome part. I don't have an office. I have an office, but it's my home, right? I live here. So I don't necessarily give the address out to anybody. I've never spoken to Dever as far as I know. Yeah, I'll have an unboxing of this soon. It looks pretty. It looks nice. So, yeah, expect that on the channel here. There's going to be a lot of times where I'm going to be saying, you'll see this on the channel soon. So if you are not subscribed, click that subscribe button. Trust me. That way, YouTube actually shows you when I upload the video that you're looking forward to. Otherwise, YouTube is on a whim, and if your whim deviates even a little bit, it's bye-bye to whatever the other whim was, and I've had it happen to me too. So, alright, now before we get into the meat and potatoes of this update, I actually wanted to show you what Kickstarter is showing everyone right now, and that's the supply chain disruption thing. There's a little banner at the top. I'm not going to read everything. That would be kind of pointless. You could do so if you want to. I'm just going to read the high-level points because I think it's important to go over this before we get into all of these awesome campaigns. So what are they saying here? Essentially, the first part is actually towards people making this, which I know a lot of you guys are actually in the industry, and so this is kind of towards you. But first of all, for everyone's sake, this issue is global and it's affecting every type and size. So just because it's a big company doesn't mean it's going to go through. They if only, right? But that's not the case. There are some big companies that are able to have some pretty good smooth sailing. They luck out on things. There's some small companies that do too. But there's also the other ones where the small ones just can't get something booked and can't get something out. And then there's even the big players that we're seeing that are having to delay because of this. It's affecting all sorts of people pretty much unilaterally. So, just as an FYI, don't feel like, this campaign's going to be exempt from this. There might be some if you avoid Chinese manufacturing, but even then there's still a shortage is a shortage. So that's not necessarily a given there. So just FYI on that. Now, if you are a creator and you have launched a project yet, add some shipping delays into your plans. Now, you should have a buffer anyway. If you think it'll take you 11 months to make it and you are saying, yeah, we'll get it in a year, don't. Add several months to that, at least. And now 7 more just for the delay. You should always have a buffer. Delivering early costs nobody anything except good press. So, yeah, by all means, put that there. And they're saying how, we've not seen it affect people's willingness to back projects. I have seen some rumblings of that myself. However, talk and actions are different things, right? So, I don't know if people are actually not, saying, I don't want to wait a year and a half when we all know it's going to be a year and a half anyway. So, just as an FYI on that, make sure you have a buffer and make sure your buffer's accommodating on the shipping delay too, and not just for the shipping delay. But FYI on that. And also, if you already have launched it and you're having an issue, over communicate. Now, I'm going to be talking about this over communicate briefly. I'm not talking spam, right? When I backed Commands Master of the Universe, I got like 3 to 4, I think once there was even like 5 emails a day with all the, you don't like this, you don't like this, you don't like this, which I understand wanting to do that. But I mean, when they're saying over communicate, they just mean like over communicate information wise and readiness wise. There are some companies that are like, we update on Wednesday. And so if something happens Thursday, backers don't find out about it until 6 days later, right? And that's kind of that's what they're talking about. It's like, have meaningful updates, but also prompt updates. I don't think there is such a thing in that scenario as over communicating. I think that's just communicating well. And as a backer, so for everyone else watching this, including me, extend your support. That doesn't mean financial support. That means like just be understanding and be supportive of the process and of the creator, which at the end of the day, there's a lot of focus on financial support, but there's a lot of other support that you can provide as a backer. Especially for some of these indie games. I'm going to be showing quite a few of them here, some that are not funded yet. And so that's kind of where that I think comes in. And that can be in just words of encouragement. That can be in helping out. That can be in giving suggestions. It can be in all sorts of, it can wear many faces, but really just, be in it for it and help out where you can, I guess. Okay, so let's go ahead and start out with keep the heroes out now. Hear me out, because I know what you're thinking. Oh my gosh, those are meeples. Well, no, that's a rat, and that's a cute little skeleton, and that's a little goblin, that's a dragon. Silly. No. Okay, why would I cover this? Why would I cover it at the start? I think it looks pretty good. I have kids. I have a young daughter in particular that she can read, and on a lot of games, there's like, you'll get some big words, right? But there are some games that do some light reading, but she is slower at it. So, she's, if she has to draw 3 cards, it's going to be there for a little bit. So one of the nice things about this, I think, is how well it runs with kids while still being enjoyable for adults. So how does this play? So, essentially you have a random dungeon per scenario, right? So you have these scenarios with a modular board, and you are these asymmetrical, cooperative enemies, right? So the rat can have a whole bunch of treasure finding abilities, and there's a whole bunch of them. The imps are crafting powerful items. The dragon can fight adjacent enemies and has more hit points. The skeletons can grow their army and also have more bones for training pets. The slimes get divided when they attack. The lizard folk are kind of hit and run tactics. There's even a Cthulhu expansion, I think it's $15 here, that does some other stuff. So you take the role of one of them, and then you're doing this. And what you're doing is you're playing these cards right here. Now, one of the nice things about these cards is there is no text on the cards. So it is quite easy for kids to be able to play with. And it's cooperative as well. So you're not having to handhold your children, but at the same time, so they get that independence and that confidence and, oh, I did this and I didn't even need help and all that kind of stuff, while you can still provide suggestions on, okay, you should go there, or you should do this, or you should deal with that, or whatever. And then you spawn the heroes in after you lay traps and stuff like that. And it looks like an old style video game dungeon, setup wise. Art wise, I think it looks a lot more modern and nice, but like this just screams like Zelda on the Game Boy to me. Like that is my jam. I did that a lot. I've been in this room kind of thing. So, that's always pretty cool. And then, the heroes come in. There's also difficulty levels, so there's easy, medium, and hard, so you can adjust it that way. It looks like a solid game that looks enjoyable. There's some strategy there, both in what everybody's doing, but also in the order you do it. So when you place this, you don't have to follow the order of things. So if you can move and attack, you could then attack and then move, or, whatever that might be. Plus, they look adorable. This, the rat can remind me of Foamy the squirrel, which is not kid appropriate, but that's what it reminds me of. I think because of the ears and eyes, perhaps. But either way, that looks fun. Just the overall face there. It looks cute. It looks I think it looks awesome. Like, I love the map stuff. It's $50. I think that's maybe the only thing holding it back a little bit. I wish it was 40. 40 would be, I would be backing this right now. 50 plus shipping, I need to look into it more and justify it. I'll probably look at a video, review, hopefully, or something like that. But either way, $50, that's not terrible. And that's really it. I mean, it's really straightforward. There's the $50, pledge, and then there's the $15 add-on, and I think that's it. So anyway, that is Keep the Heroes Out. There is a link in the description below for everything I'm covering. So Control F, use your find feature. It's going to be a big long list. You don't need to be going in there. So after the video plays out and you've seen everything, you're like, okay, I want to look at that, look at that, look at that. There are timestamps in the video. I got it all for you, hopefully, to help you guys out. So I hope you appreciate that. Moving on, we have Voidfall. I had to cover this, right? Over $1 million, still 10 days to go. It is doing quite well, almost 8,000 backers. It's $1 million because it's also kind of pricey, right? So the standard box is 87, but nobody goes for that. Everybody goes for the big one. You see this in standee version, you see this in everything. 353, and then look at that. A lot more people in the Galactic box. That's $156, right? So definitely there. This is a big game. It's a little bit more traditional. So there's also Fractal, which I'll have a review out over the weekend. If you want to see that, again, go ahead and subscribe. I have it literally right here on the table, ready to play. I've been doing the narrative campaign. I'm almost done with what we have available for that already, and I will tell you guys all about it soon. But these are, while they're both Space 4X games, they are very different. So this Voidfall is the typical Euro-style multi-hour 4X gaming experience that people like in that genre. And it's just, everything about it is big scale. There's like 837 different mechanics going on at the same time, which I know just made a lot of you guys excited. To me, that's scary, but for people who enjoy the Euro 4X stuff, the Twilight Imperium kind of stuff, that is totally it. It has a lot of color. I don't like the UI design myself. Like, there's so much overlay here, and it's so zoomed in that this doesn't look like space to me. That's kind of, I think, one of my actually biggest issues here is just the amount of, it just doesn't look like that doesn't look like space. And it doesn't look like I'm exploring space there. So that's maybe a minor gripe, because I think the, art, like otherwise, like this right here, whatever the heck that stuff is, or the hero art or the character art, the species art, whatever it is, that looks great as well. There is a ton of stuff in this game. Like a ton. It's a lot. And it's like big too. You need a big table for this. Don't back this thinking you're going to play on a coffee table. It's got purple dice. I love it. Purple dice. I dig it. There's a lot of color in this. That is for sure. Okay. So on these minis, not only are you getting like 12 of each kind, right? But these are 43 millimeters. So that's Oathsworn size. Those are big. Those are big minis, and you get 12 of these, and 12 of these, and 12 of these, and then you get some more 25 millimeter, and then you get some more 26 millimeter. This is like more almost the normal mini size, right? Like, these are big. They're impressive. There's a lot there. It's gonna be a big box, and it's gonna be on a big table, I am sure. Anyway, they're unlocking stretch goals. They have all that. So definitely, again, if you've wanted to get into the kind of Space 4X games, or if you just enjoy the genre, this is something to definitely look at. It's by Mind Clash Games. They seem to be, they got their head on, or screwed on straight. They seem to know what they're doing, so definitely check out that. If you're like me, and you like more games like this, right, and which doesn't have a Euro anything, this Fractal might be your edge in. So I've been wanting to expand and try new things and do all that. That's why you've seen some card games on my channel. That's why you're seeing Fractal now. It has a full scenario-based, really neat narrative game that, you are introducing new rules depending on who wins, and you're tracking campaign achievements and stuff like that. And it actually works. So this is definitely a more streamlined, which again is something I like when I see Voidfall and I see all the mechanics there, and I'm just like, can I do all that but with like less mechanics? Well, that might be why you would like Fractal. The only other thing I think that really differentiates this is that there's no stretch goals. There's no everything is there. This is a very straightforward and streamlined campaign compared to Voidfall as well. The Voidfall is crazy in the stretch goals and whatnot, but very much this is just kind of a straightforward thing. So you get your 4X thing, and you're still have diplomacy and technology tree upgrades, and recruiting and expanding and fighting and all this kind of stuff. The card combat and the fighting is kind of interesting, but I think the main draw here, in my opinion, is that it's a 4X without dozens of mechanics and is like really streamlined, so it plays really smooth. You played in a normal game session. It's not like some huge multi-hour thing going on there where it's like, I mean, there's more than 1 hour depending on the players, but it's not like an all weekend thing, right? Like this runs pretty smooth, pretty quick. You're just going through 2 cycles, and then you do your mystery, go through 2 more cycles, and you're done. Yeah, so anyway, if you're more like me and you want more streamlined, less rules, a little bit more smooth going, some narrative story to give context to what it is you're doing, then you might want to check out Fractal. So 2 different, very different games in the same genre. Very cool to see them both going on at the same time. And all that means is backers have better choices, and that's cool. And maybe both, like they definitely do not play the same. Just looking at Voidfall and watching their video and all that, this is a very different game than what I've played with Fractal. So it's safe to get both too, which maybe isn't so good, but whatever. Okay, moving on. We have Skinny Minis 2, An Easier Way to Mini. These are hugely popular. They look really nice. Like if we scroll down here, you can see, like, they look great. The color's good. The clear is good. If this was Orange Nebula, they'd be saying this is organic glass, but we all know they just mean plastic. It's not trying to be all fancy about it, but this looks really good. They're actually quite thick, as you can see. They're quite durable, and you lay them flat so they slot in to the base, so that you can see that kind of right here. So you plop it in, and then you're good to go. So you can actually store them flat, which is also kind of nice. You can get a whole bunch of them. It is, I think they say it up here. Maybe they say it down here. Less than $1 a mini, that's for sure. It's like actually pretty cheap. Oh yeah, approximately 300 minis for $129. And they get quite big, as you can see. So that's actually really cool. I feel that this is even available for, if you do D&D, this is huge. These ladies like it a lot. Becca says that they have butts, because of course all that means is there's a backside, right? But again, huge. Now it depends on the game, right? So just be conscious, especially if you're going to replace this in board games. So for instance, people wanted stand-ins like this in Primal, and I felt Primal was almost the exactly wrong reason to get one of these, and here's why. So, in Primal, like, the boss turns, right? And so you're kind of guaranteed to see this view of the boss, where you don't see any of the art, you don't even see like, a token would be better at that point, a flat token, because all you're seeing is the side of plastic, which isn't exciting to attack. In fact, it's easy to miss. So there are some games where if you really need to see where all the enemies are, if they're turned just slightly, like I would struggle to play Warhammer with these, right? Because they're not miniatures. And so you can't get that kind of paper edge. I see a sliver of something that I don't even know what it is there. And so that's just one thing to be conscious about when you're doing stuff, especially in their seating arrangement around and stuff like that. So there is a difference there, but if you're fine with that, if the game accommodates that, these are actually pretty darn cool, I think. They look like nice quality. Okay, moving on from that, we have Tales from the Red Dragon Inn. This is a fun story time. So before I started this channel, before I owned my first game, I still had Life and Monopoly and Clue, and I want to say maybe one other, but like I didn't have games, right? My coworkers invited me to play the Red Dragon Inn, and I had a blast. It's very much a beer and pretzels, but more beer, type of game. It's a fun game. You play with a whole bunch of people, and the world is cool, and the humor is humorous, and this is no different. Looks like a fun, silly dungeon crawl game that actually looks kind of unique. So as you can see, like, the map here has like enemy stats right there on it, and this map looks different than other maps I've seen that they've shown. So, the leveling up looks cool. You get a little cape, and then, your cape has, some fur on it, and then, oh my gosh, you're like a wraith. But then there's a shenanigan, ranking here. So it's silly, right? Like, your rogue is like buck-toothed. There's a fly that's trying to co-star in this video. Yeah, here he is, Gurky, or Jerky. I don't even know what it is. Zot and Pookie. Okay. I mean, it's silly. It looks like a lot of fun, to be honest. It looks like there's actually some, pretty cool mechanics at play too. If there was one thing I would tell them that could improve, and I'm only mainly pointing this out because I feel I'm going to be saying this a lot in this update, is selling the content. So right now it's $90, which is actually below average price at this point. And this is what you get for $90. Now there's actually a lot here, but it doesn't quite look like it. I'll show a better example later, but like here it says 150 plus standees, but I'm seeing like 5. And are they all, is it just the 5 and they're just repeats on all of them? I don't know. Then it says and more, and they're just you get 14 dice, you're only showing 3. They almost do good here because they show 6 heroes and 6 minis, which are like with the heroes, but they're almost listing it like separate things. But 150 cards, you see 3 of them, stuff like that. You want a stack, right? You want it to look like a ton of stuff. You want it, like you see this bit of overflow. You want to capitalize that and make this pretty much bursting with content. You got a lot here. It's just a matter of visually showing that and making it feel like, oh my gosh, I get all of this for $90. That's the reaction I think you want. They're still doing great. They're at 243, almost have 3,000 backers, and still 20 days to go. It does look cool. I highly suggest looking into it. Go ahead and watch this, and don't think of like Adventure Quest or something like that. Like it's all like flash animation, if you remember that. So some fun stuff to be had, I think, here. And I think that image could be improved a little bit. Moving on, we have Dungeon Crusade reprint. This was something that I was actually pinged on. Somebody emailed me and said, hey, could you take a look at this? So I said, sure. So here I am. This is like, I feel if most people click this, is probably because of the skank here, but, this is like a huge dungeon crawl D&D style thing. It is massive. So this was actually done before here with the kind of the first campaign. This was years ago. Kickstarter was a much different thing back then, like for sure. But this, I think, campaign actually shows you almost better. Here's kind of what this game looks like. It is like one of those massive dungeons you would do in HeroQuest maybe, or in D&D, that I really dig. I love that. Like, here's a group of adventurers. Go explore. I love it. They're like you're supposed to go and get loot and do all this stuff. And there's a whole bunch. I mean, look at, this is the game. Like, that is huge. It's massive. Play solo, play co-op. Like that. Okay. All of that sounds cool. I really dig that. You can kind of see some of maybe a mini there or something like that. And they have loot that you're going to get and a wall of arrows. And, you're playing, it looks like card based and dice based. And there's just so much stuff. It kind of reminds me of Shadows of Brimstone as well. You see this, Skulljack and stuff like that. There's like this, idea of being able to like go back, I think, in town perhaps and do these kind of game of chances and stuff like that. So a lot of mini games there. Kind of reminds me of the town phase and Shadows of Brimstone, depending on what you're doing there. But as you can see, lots of stats and different things going on there, and different levels of enemies, and it is just a lot of stuff. So the reason I'm showing you this old campaign is because this new one is insane. I mean, so I'm going to go ahead and start scrolling. This is the problem with this one, I feel, and I think this could improve a lot, is there is just so much stuff. It's too much, far too much. Maybe a separate website they could click on to like look into all this would be kind of cool, but this is a lot. And again, it kind of reminds me of Shadow of Brimstone a lot, where there's like, a ton of add-ons and different things you can do and all this stuff. If you are looking for a very deep RPG that's super complex that you can get into, that you can read about and you could play for a long time, this looks like it might be something for you. You could live and breathe this game, I feel. That's how long it is. That is insanely long. Definitely one of the longest campaign pages I have ever seen, actually. It is huge. And again, it looks like there's a ton of fun stuff here. It looks really good. And they got a lot of like videos to help out and stuff like that. It's just a lot to go through. So if you are willing to do so, well, then there you go. There's one image I hope to find, that kind of shows an all-in. Yeah, look at this. So this is a ton of stuff. It really is. And actually, I don't know if that's an all-in at all. I don't think, yeah, it's every single add-on. Yes, this is like everything. And again, I think a lot of it is stacked up, and I bet it's even more than I think what it looks like, but it looks like a ton. Like, this is just one, like the expansions look like this, right? I mean, it's crazy. So anyway, feel free to look at this if you're interested in something like that. Definitely unique in what this is here and what I'm showing off here. There's not really anything else like it on the market right now. So, If you're interested, again, link down below to that. Next up, edible gummy minis for tabletop games. This is a cool thing because you can also donate to the Children's Milk Network of hospitals, which is super cool. And I know my kids would love this. And that's what they show. They just show kids enjoying it. I think that's great. I think kids would have, it's just fun. And I think it's all girls here. We're just gonna, oh no, this boy knows what's up. He knows how to eat these gummies. Just handfuls. Super cool. They're about $8 a packet. If I like the lowest tier, and they have a ton of different flavors and stuff like that. They can also make the eyes separate colors and, cool things like that, which is kind of neat. Now, I figured they were making this, just in silicone molds like this. But I don't think they are. I think they're actually trying to, and I don't even know what this is. I don't know if this is something they're doing too, but, they're talking about automated versus manual. And I think there's a picture of the steel molds here where you could make a whole bunch more right here, right in the actual metal molds, which is cool and all, but that also gives them a $20,000 goal. And I think that's a little unfortunate because Kickstarter is an all or nothing thing. So if they don't get the 20,000, they get nothing, which is kind of unfortunate. I wish that was a lower goal and they were willing to do kind of a, okay, we'll make it in our kitchen kind of thing. Just because I think it's a cool thing. That they're doing. It's something that would be kind of neat to do, to order and have a little special treat, a little something that you could do with your kids or donate some, which is also super cool. So I wish them the best of luck. And if you want to be in on this, again, there's a link down below. But at $8 a packet, you have to sell quite a few to get 20,000. Definitely, you need more than the 79 backers that are currently here. But you can also kind of consider a donation fight. You can do it kind of that way. So there's a link below to this as well, of course, and I wish them the best of luck. Next up, we have Dungeons of Draggmar. Why is this here? Because of the art. I don't know how this game plays, and I'll tell you why. Because how to play. And then number 4 is explore the dungeon. And then number 5 is confront the boss. Like, how do you explore the dungeon? It's all card-based, I know that. There's a how to play video. This is what you would want to watch if you want to know how to play this game, because this campaign page is not going to tell you. But look at the art. I have nothing like this in my collection. If you appreciate this art, very kind of old school art, I feel, Miniac, I think, would love this art. Very cool art, and they're already unlocking stretch goals and doing that whole thing. If you are interested, for sure, go ahead and check this out. It still has 18 days left to go, so quite a few. Almost 1,000 backers. It's doing quite well, which hopefully means the gameplay matches how cool the art is. I don't know. I couldn't say. I did not watch the video. But either way, super cool on that. Definitely stand out, in my opinion, when it comes to something to be on your shelf. Next up, 108 pre-assembled miniatures for $70. Dang. The Miniatures and Monsters Plastic Miniatures Edition. I showed this off last time. I'm showing it off again, so it has 11 days to go. They are not funded yet, and I think the reason they have this 92,000 is because there's almost no way they're making a profit until they get a good bulk of orders, because these look really nice. If you wanted some fantasy miniatures, but you felt the Blacklight Games fantasy set like me, it looked really static and kind of tame and pretty safe, this is something you'd want to look at. The sculpts look so much better. They're much more dynamic. They just look better sculpted and better made. They look great. I saw a little bit of Alex's video from Board Game Co. When he was showing them off, and I was a little jealous because they look pretty cool. So definitely take a look at this. You get some good copies of them if you need more. Like, you don't need one troll. Okay, here's 3 trolls. You don't need 1 worm, you need 5 worms, right? But look, just think about how upgrade this would be in something like Shadows of Brimstone, which has those slime things. At least the Forbidden Fortress copy I have. A lot of potential here. And again, really cheap too, really impressive. So I wish them the best of luck, and I hope they can get past that so people can get some cool minis at a cheap price. Moving on, we have Fantasy Bus. Now, I'm going to show specifically, there's some monsters here that are really cool, but there are a whole bunch of this as well. If you want a whole bunch of skinks, this is your thing. What I wanted to point out here is they say bus, right? Which is normally kind of like chest high, like mid-torso, right? And these are not busts. At this point, we're getting to legs. And they have the full version of these, by the way, too. So they do have that. I love the sculpted plinths that they have, too, which is super cool. It's just once you start getting a whole torso, it seems kind of weird to me. But I'm going to go ahead and zoom past all this because, it's at the end of the day, it's all just barbarian stuff, which we've seen before. really well detailed. The textures look cool. I think it would be great to paint, but it's not exciting to me. Neither are these dogs, sadly. They are great looking dogs, but they look very much standardized too. So there is that. Look at these monsters though. Like, these look super unique and cool, and I really appreciate like the skin versus skeleton going on with a lot of them. Looks super cool. Cerberus, I think, was actually a standout because I have Mythic Battles Pantheon. This would be so cool to update this. This is an STL campaign, so you're going to be printing it out, which means that chain can actually look as good as that. Can you imagine pimping out your Mythic Battles Pantheon with this as your Cerberus? That would look super cool. I dig it. So there's a lot of possibility here. And again, there's tons more, right? There's a ton. So that is Fantasy Bus and Miniatures STL files for 3D printing. And you can go ahead and check that out as well. They have 18 days still to go, so they're doing quite well. City of the Great Machine was canceled, which is weird because it looked like a pretty good game. And it just goes to show that I think you need the value up front, and you need it there, and you need it obvious, and you need to like really do your A game with advertising and stuff like that. Because they actually, I think, had a better take on this than a lot. Like, the production value looks great. The game looks neat too. I think one mishap here, because see how, like, I talked about, like, the cards, 54 cards. That last one, remember, 150 showed 3. 54, and they have this big old stack. Now, you'll see the top one, but I'm not here to learn about your cards. I'm here to see what I get. And so showing a big fat stack of access cards makes it seem like a lot. Right? And that's, I think, how you really do it. And like the other one, they didn't list a rule book. I'm assuming you get a rule book, but they didn't show it, right? Like, show everything you get. Make it look big and awesome and full stuff. I think one of the issues here is they call it the regular edition. Now, I know not a lot of people back the bottom one versus the top, or the top one versus the bottom one. You do the more expensive all in, or the deluxe version or whatever. I just feel like calling it regular edition doesn't sound great. Just because regular sounds very mundane and boring. And I get you want to push the other one anyway. This isn't the Kickstarter exclusive one. This isn't the, stretch goal ones and all that kind of stuff. And I get it. But it just sounds boring, regular, whatever. So, but otherwise, I mean, it looks great. They kind of do a rough time here with the Master of the City, $135 pledge. $135 is pretty expensive, so you gotta justify it. And it's like, this big area here is for this many, this big area here is for this many. This says, now they're making that mistake again, right? 27 access cards, they show 3 again, right? Show it like the other one, show a big stack of them. This is everything you get. Make it look like a ton of stuff that it actually is. We open these boxes, there's tons of mechanics and tons of components. Show that, right? I think that's probably the key there. Because otherwise, they got the gifts, they got like it looks nice and professional. This progress board that looks like a clock, genius. I love it with the gear and all that. That looks super cool. Minis look cool. Theme looks neat. So, yeah, I think it's just making it to where you're like, shoot, I get all that for 135? Heck yeah. That's the reaction I think you want. Next up, what's coming up? Marvel Dice Throne, you're welcome. Link down below. Join the other 3,500 people that are waiting for this already, and more will come, I'm sure. Dice Throne is pretty popular, at least among my patrons. It looks like it's pretty well done. Throw some Marvel skin on that, and that thing's gonna sell like hotcakes. So this is a guaranteed success. This is about as safe as you can get when it comes to backing something that you know will fund. This will fund. Next up, we have Slay the Spire, the board game. Let's do some video game stuff. That being said, this is coming summer 2021. Obviously, that's now past us, so they need to kind of update this, I think, a little bit. And, and again, like, you have to give them their email address there's no convenient, like this is convenient because I can click notify me on launch, and I didn't give anybody any information, and I can see how many other people are there, and it's instantly within the same system you're going to launch at, and this is like some newsletter thing I got to sign up for. I see more and more companies doing this, and I don't like it. I don't. I'm fine with having newsletter, and I'm fine with pushing people towards a newsletter. I don't like the whole, I'm not going to tell you or give you any way of tracking this game unless you give me your email address. Because then I just end up not tracking the game they just lose, because I can't just click this button. Now I'm not going to know when exactly this launches unless I catch it outside of the newsletter anyway. So I think I don't like it. I think they should have a Kickstarter preview page like it's provided with the tool that they're using, in my opinion. Not to be outdone, Deep Rock Galactic, the board game. another video game board game. This mentions dice, so I like that. This is cool. This is a list of board game Kickstarters based on computer game IPs. I didn't realize Darkest Dungeon beat Dark Souls, so it is now the most funded video game Kickstarter. I thought that was kind of cool, actually. And by a fair amount, too. But there's Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Binding of Isaac, Frostpunk, Street Fighter, Horizon Zero Dawn, Divinity. They have it all. There's a ton here. They're like, hey, this is the thing. Let's do the thing. And so they're busy doing this as early prototype stuff, of course. So don't judge the book by the cover in this instance. But they're busy making it into a board game, which I think is kind of cool. I dig it. That being said, again, no Kickstarter page. Give them your email. Don't like it. And this gives obviously less information than this did, which is why I showed this first. So I'll have a link down to this below so you can read about it. And then, of course, I'll do this so you can give them your email and start getting newsletter information. Moving on. Rome Total War, the board game. This is going to be huge. This actually, it sounds great. So this, wargamer.com had a great amount of information on here. Has a release date, has all this stuff that looks really, really good. And I really, really like it. I think this sounds cool in a lot of ways. So it's coming out November 30th. Okay. So again, it will be on GameFound. I showed the preview page there. I'll have a link again down to that below. Some information on some like expansions. So they're going to be having these army pack expansions. So you'll have Rome and Greece and Carthage and Persia and all this other kind of stuff that you'll get, so you can kind of, customize what units you have in there, or you can get them all and have all that variety, which is kind of cool. I think that's neat that it'll have like all of this, army pack kind of stuff in there. Sounds good. The game's emphasis, says Townsend, is on building armies and beating the crap out of your opponents. In the process, he says, you'll be throwing lots of dice, building your armies, upgrading, and all that stuff that you do in the video game. I like all of that. All of that sounds great. Throwing lots of dice, building my armies, and upgrading. Yes. It focuses on building armies and fighting. I love it. I think this sounds really cool. Playtime under 3 hours, with 4 players typically taking 6 or 7 turns to complete. This sounds like a great kind of really tight strategic game that I'm imagining. This is exactly how I would imagine this in a board game. So it sounds super cool for sure. If they can actually, deliver on what it is they're promising, so it's going to be a knock out of the park for me. I'm definitely interested in this. This went up from those few sentences there on my hype meter. Next up, Sea of Legends, Visions of the Empires. This is the next Kickstarter for Sea of Legends. It's an expansion. I don't know if it's standalone. I believe it is, but they'll also have a reprint of the original either way. So if you haven't been enjoying that game, especially with all the app upgrades they've been doing, I know the app was kind of not available at first and then had a lot of issues. They've been redoing it. I think they even re-architectured it. So there's been a lot of work involved there. If you're okay with all of that kind of work and you're still happy about it, you've been enjoying the game, there's more for you here now as well. It's not for me because of the app. It's an easy no. There's already plenty of other games I want that I can't afford. But for those that are enjoying it or like the whole dating sim style of being a pirate, I guess it's a weird combo, but whatever. Sea of Legends is there for you. Next up, we have Order of Cthulhu. This is exciting because I have an excuse to show one of my absolute favorite miniatures of all time. Super cool. I'm excited about this. This looks great anyway. As you can see, Cthulhu has invaded Egypt and has invaded ancient Greece and Europe and Asian and Rome and all this kind of stuff. So what is going on here? Okay, well, let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to start out with a little bit closer look at this. As you can see, looks really well detailed. This is really, really good fancy stuff. November 4th on Kickstarter. And this is by the Michael Contaros miniatures. He does this atonement thing. I love it. So let's look at this atonement. Look at this mini. What a fantastically cool piece. There's a book and it's bursting out of there. And then there's all this death and carnage and this guy in full, armor suit. But then he's got these paper wings, and then his the love of his life is there or whatever. Happy to see him or whatever. It just looks so good. I mean, it's just such a cool concept and mini. There's just a lot going on there. 165 millimeters too. It's huge. Looks awesome. I love it. I've never seen anything like it before. It's unique. I would adore having this. So they make some cool stuff. And they have it here too. Here's Cthulhu type stuff at like a Roman Colosseum kind of thing. Super cool. Here's them with like a samurai. Again, super cool. Look, even the little dog guy has tentacles. I love it. Here they are in Egypt. Again, one of my favorite things is the kind of like Pharaoh Cthulhu stand that she's on. I think that's super cool. Here they are like Assassin's Creed Cthulhu. Heck freaking yeah. Let's have tentacle horns coming out of our knight helmet. Again, super cool. I dig it. That's going to be really, really unique. If you're into that, for sure, for like painting and all that kind of stuff, they're going to be some nice, big, beautiful minis. All right, moving on from that, we have Zerywia RPG 5e. This is going to be huge. I know some of my patrons are going to be ecstatic about this. The Zerywia campaign, the board game, they're going to be having 150 copies of that for sale, by the way. So very limited. You'll want to get in there as soon as possible. But a Slavic RPG looks super cool. The board game, as you can see, it has beautiful art. Look at this dragon with all the smoke around it and all that. Look at the slip cover there. It's so good. And it's all Slavic mythos. It's dripping with that kind of theme and all that. The board game looks great. And in fact, I found out just recently, just yesterday, that I'll actually be getting a copy around November, so you'll be seeing an unboxing and review of that. Again, subscribe if you want to see more stuff just like that for the board game. Looks super cool. You have an early bird that's actually a bird. I like it. It's a light chaser. It's a unique companion model. I think that looks super cool, though. And it's a nice idea. But yeah, the RPG looks... I mean, again, it's got the spells and items and the cards and all that. I love RPG books, even though I don't play them, because I love leafing through them and reading them, and they have all this information, and they have all the art. When I talked to you guys about Force of Radagos, one of the hugest things for me was the fact that I got to read about all these mythos from the Slavic, kind of area, which I'm fascinated by. I've always liked Norse stuff, not necessarily Viking stuff, but Norse stuff. There's a difference. And so the Slavic stuff is almost like it's like right parallel with it in my opinion on like just how fascinating and cool and interesting it is. So I love it. I think this looks super cool. So definitely interested in that. And again, they do have the board game too, which also looks like it has great miniatures and great art. And it looks to be a solid game too. I saw a kind of a whole playthrough once actually. It looked great. Look at that. Oh, it looks so good. Looks so good. Let's look at some of the minis here real quick, just to kind of show you, board game wise, kind of the quality that they're doing there, to kind of get a sense of the quality they're going to be doing, I'm assuming, in the RPG as well. So as you can see, these minis are actually really good. Like, they look really nice, especially their sculpts and how they're designed, but the detail level as well. It looks quite good. Definitely interested in that. So these look awesome, and I'm excited to get these as well. So I'll let you guys know, of course, but if you are into RPGs or just into Slavic stuff, this is probably an interesting back for you. Next up, Taverns Dragons by Lord Raccoon Games. I have no idea how this plays. I'll tell you why. I have no idea how this plays because they have all this stuff, which looks super cool. And then you finally get to how to play coming soon. So I don't know. They do say it's a gateway game. So it's very much a kind of a light-hearted, light game that allows people to get into gaming. You can use that in your life if you need to. Everybody around me plays board games because I'm the leader and they follow the leader. No, because we just kind of enjoy nerdy stuff like this. So I don't really have to worry about that too much, but some other people might have to. It looks very pretty, that is for sure. I can't tell exactly what necessarily you're doing, because I see the same circles here, but then there are no real, like, circle tokens that I see. Like, I don't know. So I don't know what you're putting in those circles. I guess we'll find out. But it definitely looks pretty. That is for sure. Again, link down below. And maybe you can find out and then let me know how it plays, I guess. Next up, we have 1 week till Christmas launching soon on Kickstarter. That's all I have. I don't know the company. I don't know this. I saved this from Facebook, and I wish I'd saved more, because searching 1 week till Christmas does not bring up a board game. Even if you put in Kickstarter, it just brings up Kickstarter like around Christmas, right? So it doesn't help. So very much a not very easily searchable game, unless like you play some gnomes trying to go around. But I love sitting miniatures. That's a goofy Santa sitting. I had to save it. So I don't know about this yet. I guess we'll find out about it, and I'll let you know once something pops up. If you know something, let me know in the comments below, or email me, or contact me in some way so I can know. Actually, if you can, do it in the comments so other people can see the information too. How about that? Next up, we have Trinity of Reign. This comes out in around 27 days. It's going to be November 2nd as well. This looks interesting. It has area control, resource management, city building. The city building, I think, is kind of the unique part here. If we look at this, which this is not a great trailer because it's all like CGI and stuff like that. This is the best part of it. Otherwise, it goes full video game style, like this. Like that's, obviously not the board game. But you can kind of see here, you can build outposts and cities, and you can get dizzy while doing it. They're doing the whole spin around thing to, make it even more exciting. But that looks kind of cool. That looks kind of neat. And then if I go here, you can actually kind of see a prototype here. So you kind of see what it looks like, which is kind of cool. I kind of dig that. So anyway, and this is again this is kind of how it looks like. You get all your information right in front of you by the looks of it. I'm assuming you're doing secret stuff behind there. Kind of like a Rising Sunish kind of scenario. Lots of minis though, so you definitely have units on the board and doing that kind of thing. Seems interesting enough. This seems pretty tame. The art, I think, on the box seems actually really cool. So it'll be interesting to see what that city building is like. Next up, Free Arcadia. Only 52 people are looking at this now. This was actually something, again, they contacted me and they said this is like Forest of Radagos. I've mentioned that twice in this video now, which is kind of cool. What do I mean by that? So they launched it before. And you have this map. I'm actually going to scroll down to the map. Right here. Okay, so you're going around here and you're exploring it kind of like you did in Forest of Radagos, where you essentially have encounters that you have to kind of deal with, right? But there's a little bit more oomph, a little bit more game here, I feel, while still having a ton of information. As you can see, religion, spirituality, appearance, personality, right? You have all this information. You get some crazy stuff here. So I want to scroll back up now. But it looks like such a unique experience. You can play solo and co-op, competitive in 2 teams, so lots of options there. This is one of the things where I feel somebody's going, there's going to be a group of people that love this game, and this is for them. So I'm hoping I'm helping share this with you if that is for you. You can get stuff like a flintlock and a gray falcon and a wolf summoner, or maybe a kitten or a horned viper. It gets crazier, trust me. It's really, as you can see, a lot of information, a lot of story and experience. You're really experiencing this, I feel, and you can replay it multiple times from what from what I've read. So if we're gonna scroll down here, we'll see even more. We got these creature boards. You can be up to 8 of them. A blood moon tracker. Okay. I love that a harlot is a creature, a level 1 creature. But you start with like locals and murder of crows and stuff like that, and you're ending fighting wraiths and ancestors. So there's a range there for sure. Like Mama Bear is just in the middle. But look at this. You have stuff like, okay, yeah, I just have a knife, or an alien blaster, or the Devil's Claw, or a rapier. Okay, normal, or the Vatican Justice Terror. Excuse me? Yeah, so it gets wild. Or Force People's Gloves, or a wolf ring, or a turtle with a clock on the back of them, or companions so you can get, a gray falcon, or this handsaw thing. Okay, right, so there's all these different, events, and, trouserless, migraine, don't ask, right? It looks unique, that is for sure. Right? Like, the more I saw this, I'm like, what the heck? 8 consumables, veterinarian. What? Tesla's prototypes, you get all that kind of stuff. It looks wild. There's all these clues, because you're trying to, solve a mystery here. I forget the exact details, but essentially, that's your objective for going around and doing that. And it's different each time. There's different clues that could come up. 30 intelligence and charisma, random encounters, special cards. You get the character models. Looking at the stretch goals, they were going to unlock more characters and stuff like that. Definitely pretty wild, in my opinion. So, that is coming out in Kickstarter again here soon. And again, you can click the link for that if you are up for a unique experience by the looks of it. Next up, Teberu. this thing. Nah, I'll be quiet. First game was announced. It is the Bad Karmas and the Curse of the Zodiac. It offers fast-paced tactical combat against intelligent enemies that are always aware, learn, and react in real time to player actions. The problem I've been having with this, I think it looks like an interesting game, is that it's actually, no matter what I read and what I see, it's advertising Teberu, not the game, right? So the always aware, learn, and react to the players in real time, that's Teberu, not the game, right? Like they're advertising Teberu here. An epic gameplay experience enhanced, so that's the game. Here's Teberu. Vivid visuals, exciting sounds, dramatic storytelling, encountering unique spectacular battles, surprising moments, and epic cinematic events brought to life to play with your friends locally or remote. So, like, I get it, but I honestly feel like, coming from the video game side of things, you sell a console, right? If this is going to be a board game console, by focusing on the game. So let's focus on the Bad Karmas and Curse of the Zodiac and how great of a game it is, not necessarily the like, it reminds me of like the 6-axis motion controller. It's like, okay, yeah, I get it, but not every, like, you can stop talking about that now. Like, how's the game, right? One thing I will note, and this is where I don't know exactly what this means from a game design perspective, because I'm not a game designer. I haven't designed a whole bunch of games, is you see how there's specific spots, right? He will go here or here. Your units will go here or here. Like, I know this isn't a great big image, but you can kind of see that, right? And I noticed the same thing with Zombicide Evolution. There were specific spots you can put your person in. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what the limitations of Teberu is when it comes to how that affects game design. That being said, it looks crazy. Like, look at this, like, chubby guy with purple hair and a pink luchador mask and a red axe thing. Like, I don't know what's going on. It looks crazy. So, you're fighting the Zodiacs. It looks like a boss battler. But that's all I know is how great it is with Teberu, not necessarily how great it is with the game. So, I don't know. Whatever. Next up, I want to make some cool announcements. So, there is something cool and special at the end of this video. But, as you know, last year my patrons decided to surprise me with kind of a GoFundMe, a fundraiser to help support the channel, because I don't necessarily do all the business deals available to me so I can stay more independent and stuff like that. And they appreciate that. I think a lot of you guys appreciate that. And it was a very cool way for them to kind of, I think, do something that was beneficial to the channel, that helped the channel out, that honestly helped. And it's just a really cool way to make this more of a viable option for the future and really enhance this channel in a lot of great ways. And a lot of people got some cool games out of it too, which I love. I love the fact that I can give back like that. So I'm going to announce the first 3. One of them is by Black Forge Games. So thank you, Black Forge Games, for being a part of that. I guess they were contacted and said they would go ahead and give to this. They're going to give a whole Soul Collector to this. So you will get the actual physical 1/12 scale Volgeric, plus all these other stuff, all the expansions and the Soul Gem with a skull inside of it and all that kind of stuff. And as you can see, it's a fantastic miniature. Super cool. And I think that's awesome that one of you will be able to get this. And I think that's great. Additionally, one of my friends and patrons, Bannister, he is a great artist when it comes to maps and stuff like that. As you can see, he draws really, really cool. He drew this map. If you want to see how that map is size-wise, it's huge. This is something you would frame or post up or whatever in your game room, front and center. This awesome little thing. And it's one of the things where you could look at it for forever, right? You could zoom in and be like, oh my gosh, what is this tower with a T going on here? And how does it interact with this Key Kingdom here? And then this cliffside harbor and, there's so much stuff. Now, he also did this latest one, which I haven't seen the full map of yet, but it's actually really cool. It's an actual city one with buildings and stuff like that, as opposed to a world map. Don't know which one it'll be, but he will be giving a map to it. So thank you so much for that, because again, they are awesome. And finally, Harakiri Blades of Honor. There will be an all-in for you guys too. So thank you, Synergic Games, for that. That's awesome. Super cool. And as you can see, there is a Kickstarter page. Again, linked down below to this. Feel free to, even I clicked saved, and I don't normally do that. They did add Goku in here, so that's from Journeys of the West. And yes, this is not a Chinese-based game. However, it's still very big in Japan. And I think it's a smart 48-hour early bird, because then that's the only, they don't have to do the rest of the journey, they don't need the, the paid campaign and everybody fights and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I guess they could, but either way, very cool, kind of an interesting, here's a kind of a Kickstarter-ish bonus. And, I'm glad the sign-in page is there. And again, I'm super excited somebody's going to get an all-in a Harakiri. That is awesome. Super cool. We'll know that by the end of the year, pretty much, is kind of when we'll be wrapping that up, and we'll announce winners. And I'm sure there'll be plenty more. I'll let you guys know as more stuff is added, but wanted to kind of give a shout out to the first people to kind of come forward and be like, hey, I'd like to give to this. Because I think it's a great thing my patrons run. And it really helps the channel. It's super cool too. So, anyway, lots of links down below. There's timestamps. Use those, go back and kind of see something or whatever it is you need to do. There's a lot of research available for you guys now. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did on the way out, please give it a like. It takes a lot of effort to do, but I'm happy to do it. So, with that out of the way, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you guys again really soon with a Fractal review. Again, subscribe if you're looking forward to that. I'm excited to tell you guys about it. All right, take care, guys. Bye.